Alright, so in this assignment you'll see under the lab activities the CropScape Cropland Data Layer assignment. We can go ahead and click on that. And we're going to be using this tool, this CropScape tool. It should open a new tab. Go ahead and keep your Moodle tab open because we'll be using a little file from that here in a little bit. So the first thing we want to see is just that this is basically a map that has all the crops that are grown in the places that they're grown. This is created by a satellite image or satellite imagery that's linked to what they know about what crops are grown where. So the first thing we can do is there's a lot of tools up here that allow us to take a look at the data that's located here. There's also a year-by-year selector over here, so you can look at data, the same sorts of data that we'll see in the past. So the first thing we can do is just click on this United States icon here, and you can see that when I hover over that, it says define area of interest by region, state, ASD, or county. And the key to this data is being able to define an area of interest to get the data for that area. So you can't just click on the whole United States and get the data for the whole United States. You have to tell the program, the software, that you want a specific set of data. So you just outline that or select that, what they call area of interest. So we're going to do ours by county. So we'll go ahead and click county, and then we'll go down to Wyoming, and we'll click Park County. Once we do that, we hit submit. This goes to outline Park County in Wyoming, and it puts it inside this blue, transparent blue area. That area is now our area of interest, and so any of the data that we get related, any data that we see at this point is going to be just about this area in here and not about anything outside that area. So, so we've got our area of interest, and we can click on this little bar graph here. This bar graph is going to tell us a lot of information about our area of interest. So you can see the first thing is that it's going to start listing crops, and it's actually listing them by this value here. We don't really care about the value. All crops that are grown in the United States for the purposes of this software have a number associated with them. So a corn is number 1, sorghum's number 4, and so forth. We don't really want to sort things by that. I'd rather sort and know what the crops with the most acreage are in that county or that area of interest. I can make this a little bit wider, a little bit easier to see. If I click on this header up here, if I click on it twice, it will rank everything that's all the land area in that area of interest by how much is in the most acreage to the least acreage. Now here we've got shrubland and evergreen forest, and if I just want to see the crops that are grown, I can click on this little checkbox here, and it'll only select crops that are agronomically managed. So you can see that information. That's really good information. If you want to see it in a little bit clearer format, you can click on View Table. It'll open up a table that that looks like this, and you can see that it's got all that information, and it's ranked just like we had it in the table. So that's nice. The next thing you can do is click on Export Table as a CSV file, and that actually is just a file that's open, that you can open in Excel and see the information just in cells in Excel. You'll be doing this in a little bit, but if you click that, it just downloads a file to probably your downloads folder is where that's going to go. The next thing you can do is click on this pie chart, and it's going to give you a breakdown of that same data as a pie chart, and it's going to, if you hover over it somewhere, it'll show you what that slice of the pie is for. It's all color-coded by crop. Then there's a bar chart, and this bar chart again is going to be created based on how you organize the information. Now on this bar chart, if you'd like to, like on that one, the grass pasture excelled everything, so I want to exclude that one. So I'm going to pick the top 5 grown crops, and I'm going to see that that data for the crop. Oh, it doesn't do that. Never mind. I thought it was going to select the data in there for me, but it doesn't actually do that. However, if you do select some of those areas here, the next little icon over, export the selected crop for mapping, if you click on that, it's going to take only those crops that you've selected, and it's going to map those in, it's going to give you an image of those specific crops in your area of interest. That image is just an image file called a .tif file, and the .tif file, you can open it in almost any image viewer that you have. So you can see here, it doesn't look like very much. It looks like those crops are in this area of my area of interest. If I download this and then take a look at that, what you'll see in the downloaded image is everything else in the area of interest is going to be black, and your areas that you highlighted for the specific crops that you want are going to be in their specific colors. So actually I can't bring that up right now, but it downloaded it again to my downloads folder, and you'll see that image when you do that in a little bit. Okay, so that's for a specific area of interest. That was pretty big, so it was a little bit more difficult to see information there. If you want to zoom in, you can either click on the zoom in button or in this drag zoom in box. Actually, one of the first things we want to do before, well, we want to clear this area of interest, so you can click on this little erased box icon, and it'll clear that. Then I'm going to go ahead and zoom down here, zoom a little bit closer, so I can see the fields a little bit better. Now this isn't official USDA data, but what they do is once they have a satellite image, they basically count the number of pixels in a specific, in a particular crop. So if we continued to zoom in, you would see that things would start to pixelate. So here you can see that fields are made up of smaller pixels, little squares like that. And what this program is doing is actually just counting the pixels. It knows how big a pixel is in terms of the land area, and it's just counting pixels that are in specific crops and then color coding those crops and estimating the acreage from those crops. If I want to know what a crop is, like here I'm not really sure what all these different colors mean, so I can click on this query button. When I click on that query button, anywhere I put this crosshair and click, it's going to tell me what's there. So there's sugar beets. The value is 41. That's the number that they've given to sugar beets, and the color. So anytime I see this color, this purplish color on this map, it's going to be sugar beets. Okay, there's more sugar beets. We can go to this yellow and see that it's sunflowers. This pinkish is alfalfa. Let's see what's here. It's green. There's some vetch there. So you can see there's a variety of different things. At this level, I can also create a new area of interest by clicking on this rectangular box and just dragging a rectangle over a particular area, and then I can go look at that, look at the data that's actually specific to that area, just like we did with the broader area, the bigger area of interest. And you can again sort that by what's grown in that area. So we've done that. We've seen how to make an area of interest, how to zoom in. We can zoom back out if we'd like to. If you want to get a whole overview, you can click on this home button, and that's going to get you all the way out. Let's zoom back in here, and let's just take a quick look at the yearly function, and then we'll see how to make a kind of a final overview report of an area of interest. So here I'm going to define, so in this case, zoom a little bit closer, you can see that everything isn't laid out in a perfect rectangle here. So sometimes you need to actually select an area that's not a rectangle, and so you can go to the area of interest, this little triangle here, and click on polygon. When you have that polygon, like let's say I wanted to outline this rectangle, but the rectangle is off center, so it's not going to work with my regular rectangle selector. You select that polygon, and then you one click, and that gives you a line. 2 clicks, and you'll start to see that it's going to fill it in. And you just want to trace the borders of the area that you want. Once you're done tracing it, you just double click on the last button on the last spot, and it will highlight that area of interest. Okay, you can get all the data that you saw before from that area of interest. The final thing that you can do, final 2 things, you can go back in time, right? So in 2014, you can get data for that, and you can see what the data was for this area of interest, what crops were grown there. You can rewind basically to 2011. You can see there was some changes here, and when you click on data for that, it's going to give you the 2011 cropland data layer for that area. So you're going to be able to see exactly the acreage that's available in, or that was grown in specific crops for that area. Final thing you can do is create a PDF file for that area of interest. So you click on that, and usually you can just leave everything the same, and you hit submit, and it's going to give you, for the 2011 crop year, it's going to give you a PDF file for all the crops, and they're going to be color coded. There's going to be a legend that has all the colors of the crops that are grown in that area, and only the crops that are grown in that area. It's not going to have the full legend of all the crops that are grown in the United States. It's going to be just that area. So you can see here, here's our 2011 area of interest, okay? And you can see here's our agriculture crops. So a lot of spring wheat, a lot of barley, there's some peas, and there's some non-agriculture places in this as well. You can save this to your computer and save it for future reference. So that's an overview of what you can do with CropScape data layer. What you need to do for this assignment is create a folder, and that folder needs to contain. I'll just do it here. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it CropScape. Okay. Within that folder, I'm going to create. I'm doing this on a Mac. You can do the same thing on a Windows machine. I'm going to have a folder for California, and then a folder for Illinois, and you're going to do this as well, and then a folder for whatever place you choose. Okay? I'll choose Texas. But the first one, yours, is you need to do a place in California. You need to find an area of interest in California, an area of interest in Illinois, and an area of interest in another site of your choosing. In each of those, so if we go to the California folder, you need to have 2 different years. So I'm going to pick a 2014 year, and let's do a 2011 year. Okay. All right, so within each of these, what you're going to do in CropScape, so let's say I'm in California here. For the 2014 year, in CropScape, you're going to download 3 files. The first file you're going to download is a CSV file, so that's the file that has all the acreages and all the crops. You're going to download that CSV file, and it'll probably go to your downloads. You'll just need to move that over to your California folder, your 2014 subfolder, and save that there. The next thing you're going to do is pick 4 crops. Okay, it doesn't matter which ones, and you can do different ones, different years, and you're going to get this crop map. You're going to save that as an image, a .tif. It's going to be saved as a .tif image. You're just going to move that again over to your California 2014 folder, and then the final thing you're going to do is get that PDF for your area of interest, and you're going to save that PDF again in the California folder in the year 2014. You're going to do that for 2014, and then you're going to do it for a different year. So I do it again, those 3 things, for 2011. You'll do that in California. You can choose wherever you want as long as it's in California. A lot of interesting things going on in California. You need to zoom in fairly close to where you can see, but not too close, to where you can see at least probably 50 to 100 fields or so. Your area of interest needs to be that big. Once you do that in California, do one in Illinois, and then you'll do another one in a place of your choosing. You'll save all those files in your folder, and you'll end up uploading a zipped folder. So on a Mac, you say compress this thing, and it zips up that folder and gives you a zip folder. You can see that over here. On a Windows machine, you right-click and say send to, and then compressed folder or zipped folder. That's the thing you're going to be uploading to Moodle in the space that we have for Moodle.